Welcome 8th graders. In this video we'll cover the requirements for the content portion of your foldable for the Fahrenheit 451 assessment. As you remember from class, you've seen many different models of students in prior years and what they came up with. We're looking for creativity, we're looking for neatness, we're looking for effort and care. And we're looking for you to follow each step and all of the requirements. So please have out paper so that you can take notes. These do not need to be in Cornell note fashion. On the cover, you must decorate. You must have the title, Fahrenheit 451. You'll want to be sure and spell that correctly. It's a tricky spelling with the E before I. Fahrenheit, Fahrenheit 451. You need the author also. You'll include a quote from Fahrenheit 451 with the page number. You may not use the quote, "It was a pleasure to burn," which, as you recall, is the opening line of the story. Down at the bottom, you'll put your name, the class, 8A, 8B, or 8C, and the date that this is due, which is Thursday, and that's 125, hold on, 125. 18. You can write January out if you prefer. I just wanted to put this here. When you open it up, there are 4 sections here, just like there are 4 sections here. Over on this first one, to the left, will be levels of questioning. You will provide flaps with levels of questioning first, and you will label that column, levels of questioning, and you'll cover literal, interpretive, and universal in this order. For the literal level question, you must include the page number on which we find the answer to your question. Remember that literal can be found in the text. You'll use the extra strip that you had when you cut the woven strips. You had extra construction paper, and you're going to use that for this column here, levels of questioning. I need you to make a flap here. You'll label it literal, write the question, of course in present tense. Each one needs to be in present tense. You'll see some mistakes in some of these. Needs to be in present tense because it's fiction, and we always refer to fiction in present tense. The question ends with a question mark, and then you will answer in a complete sentence. Same with the interpretive. You'll ask the question, you'll answer in a complete sentence. Universal is worldwide. There should be 0 reference to Fahrenheit 451 directly to Ray Bradbury, but instead we're on a universal level, all times, all people. And the flap asks the question, and underneath the flap is answered. There are different ways to approach this. I'll let you be creative with that, but those are the components. Moving to the next column, we have conflicts. You'll see that there are 4 sections here, but because conflicts, the title of the column, takes up the first square, you only need 3 examples of conflicts in this story, and you may not repeat. You need to cover 3 of the 4 categories we have studied: man versus self, man versus man, man versus nature, and man versus society. So you'll label what category you're referencing, and you'll write a full sentence in present tense because it's still fiction and we still reference it in present tense. How Montag struggles against himself, against society, against nature. This student chose you could also use against another person. So that's the second column. The third column will cover themes, and as you recall, a theme is a universal message, kind of like the universal question. But we're not asking a question, we're presenting a statement. So you will have 3 themes, just as you had 3 conflicts. The top box, top space says themes, and you'll come up with 3 themes related to whatever you'd like. This student chose to label them. You don't have to. You can just write your theme. There's someone who put the word themes on a bit of their spare paper to make it stand out, which is a very nice technique. Same with the next one. So that is this column, themes. This needs to be written in your neatest writing, with words spelled correctly. If you reference a book, you should not, so I won't even finish my sentence about if you reference, you should not be referencing the book, so let's just not do that. Next, last section on this part will include your Edmodo posts. And so up at the top, you'll write Edmodo, and then you will type on your laptop 2 of your posts. Each of those must be 3 sentences. They can come from the same evening or they can come from 2 different dates. But let's not have any part of the post saying, I agree with so-and-so. Instead, you'll edit your post. You'll make sure punctuation and spelling are correct. You'll make sure that your verb tenses are correct. You can clean it up here. The Edmodo posts are kind of a rough draft. This is your final draft. It needs to be in great shape. When you type it, you'll type it in a 2-inch column and then print it off. I'll give you a sheet of computer paper for you to print it off on, and then you'll cut and tape it on here. And I know I've got one example where that is the case. Here, here it's cut and pasted with the date at the bottom. So you will put, and this student just had 1, you'll need to have 2. It should take up most of this space. The point size that you use will depend on just how much of your Edmodo post you're incorporating. If you wrote more than 3 sentences, wonderful, terrific. You may need to use a smaller font. So up at the top, you'll have Edmodo on the sheet itself, just written right there on the colorful construction paper. And then underneath that, you will glue with the title, In My Own Words, and a colon that follows. Pardon me. And you will then write, and you'll put the, like, say that's the end of my first post. I put the date that I posted that after the dash. So this is all flush right, the date is. And here's my next post, a little shorter, but it's still a minimum 3 sentences. I put the date following a dash, flush right. So that is what goes here. On the back, which, well, on the disappearing page, which on the back I presented here, you will use this whole space, the whole disappearing page space, to illustrate and provide the title and author of a favorite book of yours. You may have many favorites. Choose one, not a whole series. Just choose a book that you love, that you would be tempted to read again or have read again. And once again, you'll include a quote from the book, and you'll cite the page of the quote. You'll need the title, the author, and an illustration. This needs to be carefully done. It needs to be your best work. And then that's what will fold back up and will disappear when you, whoops, there it is, and it will disappear. And go back to your 3 levels of questioning, conflicts, themes, Edmodo, in my own words. So we'll have quite a variety of interesting information on here. We'll close it and we'll see your cover, which will illustrate Fahrenheit 451. I'd prefer you not copy the cover of the book that we used with the matchbook on it. I'd like you to be creative and come up with your own idea. And again, you'll have your name, class, and date down in the right-hand column, each on its own line. So please follow this layout. Otherwise, how you present the requirements is up to you. I hope you enjoy this activity. We will work on it in class on Wednesday and Thursday, and it will be due at the end of class Thursday. This will not come home with you. Once you start working on it, you'll have access to your Edmodo in class, and you'll be able to complete the rest of the work then. Thanks very much. I look forward to seeing your finished products.